JSON short story. That morning I woke up, the alarm blaring, and just stared at the ceiling. I saw the person in the mirror and didn't recognize them. Bloated, tired, utterly defeated, my spirit felt hollow. /N for years, I drifted, promising myself tomorrow. My creative dreams collected dust. My energy was non-existent. I felt trapped, chained by self-doubt to endless scrolling. /N one evening, something shifted. Instead of ordering takeout, I walked to the kitchen and cooked a simple meal. The next day, I walked around the block. Felt tiny, almost pointless. /N, but those tiny choices compounded. The fog lifted. I found the clarity to start writing again, to build something meaningful, to feel alive in my own skin. My whole world changed. /N, you're closer than you think. Don't wait for motivation, create momentum. Just begin. /N today, choose one small step. Drink a glass of water before you touch your phone. Full story, I remember that morning vividly. The alarm blared, a harsh digital scream cutting through the silence of my tiny apartment. I didn't move, just lay there, staring at the ceiling, watching the dust motes dance in the sliver of light cutting through the blinds. And I finally dragged myself to the bathroom. The person staring back from the mirror was a stranger. Bloated, eyes heavy with a perpetual weariness that no amount of sleep seemed to cure, utterly defeated. Spirit felt hollowed out, an empty vessel just going through the motions. /N for years, I'd been adrift. You know that feeling, don't you? Like you're stuck in neutral, watching the world rush by outside your window. My days blurred into a monotonous cycle. Wake up, commute to a job that paid the bills but drained my soul. Come home, order takeout, scroll endlessly through other people's perfect lives on my phone until I passed out, only to repeat it all again. My creative dreams, the ones I'd held so fiercely in my youth, were collecting dust in a forgotten corner of my mind. My energy was non-existent. There was always a lingering fog in my head, a dull ache of anxiety that never truly lifted. I was trapped, chained by self-doubt and inertia, constantly promising myself tomorrow I'll start fresh. Tomorrow I'll change. But tomorrow never came. /N, the weight of it all was crushing. I'd watch friends pursue their passions, build families, travel, and here I was, feeling smaller and smaller with each passing year. The self-talk was brutal. Who are you to try for more? You're not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not creative enough. It felt like an invisible wall around me, built brick by brick from every excuse and every missed opportunity. I yearned for clarity, for purpose, for just a flicker of the person I used to be. But the path back seemed impossible, too overwhelming to even contemplate. /N then, one particularly bleak Tuesday evening, something inside me shifted. I was midway through ordering my usual greasy takeout, the familiar comfort of it already numbing my senses, when I just stopped. The thought hit me with an unexpected force. This isn't living. It wasn't a grand revelation, just a quiet, almost desperate realization. Instead of clicking order, I closed the app. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and opened the fridge. There wasn't much, but I found some vegetables and an egg. With shaky hands, I cooked a simple omelet. It wasn't gourmet, it wasn't beautiful, but it was mine. It was a choice. Tiny, almost imperceptible rebellion against the inertia. /N the next morning, the exhaustion was still there, but something else had been added. A faint whisper of resolve. Instead of immediately grabbing my phone, I put on my shoes. I told myself, just around the block. The air was crisp, almost cold. My lungs burned a little, my legs felt heavy, but with each step, a tiny current of energy started to flow. It was only 10 minutes, maybe 15. But when I got back, a subtle crack had appeared in that invisible wall. That was it. Not a complete overhaul, not a radical transformation. Just two tiny, almost insignificant choices made back to back. Cooked a meal, walked around the block. Wasn't magic, not a sudden flash of brilliance that changed everything overnight. It was a messy, inconsistent, often frustrating climb. There were days I skipped the walk, telling myself it was too cold, too rainy, or I was just too tired. Days I fell back into old habits, ordering pizza, scrolling for hours until my eyes ached. Oh, the self-doubt would roar back, louder than ever. /C. I told you so. You can't stick to anything. But this time, something was different. Instead of letting that voice win, I'd try again the next day. Sometimes, it was just one more small step. Glass of water before coffee. Reading one page of a book, instead of checking social media. It felt pointless sometimes, like bailing out a sinking ship with a thimble. /N, the grind was real. I was waking up a little earlier to walk, even when every fiber of my being wanted to pull the covers higher. Was choosing to prepare a simple lunch, instead of buying something quick and unhealthy. Was sitting down at my old, dusty laptop, staring at a blank screen for an hour, trying to coax out a single sentence for that story I always wanted to write. The resistance was immense. There were moments of genuine failure, moments when I felt the old shame creeping back, threatening to drag me under. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, those small acts started to compound. /N, I noticed I was sleeping a little better. Fog in my head began to thin, replaced by moments of genuine clarity. My anxiety, once a constant companion, started to recede into the background. My clothes fit differently. More importantly, my internal dialogue started to shift. Instead of a relentless barrage of self-criticism, there were moments of quiet self-compassion, even pride. A blank screen slowly filled with words, then paragraphs, then pages. It wasn't about perfection, it was about showing up. Showing up for myself. Showing up for the dreams I had let die. /N, the breakthrough wasn't a single /aha. Moment, but a deep, quiet understanding that unfolded over months. I realized that my previous approach was all wrong. I was waiting for motivation to strike, for some grand inspiration to carry me forward. But motivation is fleeting. What I needed was momentum. Momentum created by those tiny, boring, almost insignificant daily choices. It wasn't about willpower in big, heroic doses, but small, consistent acts of kindness towards my future self. /N, I eventually finished that story, not for publication, but just for me. The feeling of completing something, seeing it through, was exhilarating. That feeling propelled me to take another small step, then another. I started sharing my experiences, not as an expert, but as someone figuring things out. Over time, that vulnerability, that consistent effort, unexpectedly led me to build a small community, then a small business around the very things I was passionate about. It wasn't about becoming someone new. It was about meticulously, patiently, and consistently removing the layers that had buried the person I was always meant to be. /N, my takeaway for you, if you're feeling that same stagnation, that same quiet despair, is this. Don't underestimate the power of the smallest daily choice. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You don't need a monumental burst of motivation. All you need is one small deliberate action, and then another, and then another. Momentum beats motivation every single time. Start with something so tiny, it feels almost silly. Stick with it, then add another. Watch how those small stones start to build a path where there was once only an impassable wall. /N, you have that power inside you, that quiet strength to choose differently right now. Don't wait for permission, don't wait for inspiration, just choose one tiny step. The person you want to become is waiting for you to simply begin. /N, today, choose one small step. Decide what you will cook for dinner tomorrow. Sessioned, 9A4B3D2C1E6F4A0B8C7D5, F0A1B2C3D4E.